Going live, going live, going live, and I think I'm live. Excellent. Good evening. I'm Max Porter. Among other things, I am the writer and board game designer at City State Entertainment. But tonight, I am working on my campaign for some friends of mine. This is the sort of home landing page area where I have set up my Blades in the Dark campaign. Blades in the Dark, for those of you who may not know, is an RPG by John Harper. It's a really wonderful game for playing as thieves, playing as criminals. It's a ghost punk setting, which means that it's a steampunk setting with a ghostly flair. A haunted city is where it takes place, Duskfall. And the art that I have up here, the textures are from myfreetextures.com. The dials are from the Alexandrian. And these images are from the Blades in the Dark rulebook. And these other random objects that I have scattered about are for, they're from Roll20, where I run my games online. So, what is this? This is kind of the home page, the landing page, or map for the players. The reason I have this is that I wanted to give them a place they could always come back to. This is meant to represent the table, lit by a few candles and electric lamps, around which the crew can gather to plan out their next score, to keep track of what's going on in their city, and how they are doing as they continue their escapades. So I have this all set up. Tonight, I'm going to be preparing for the score that they started the last time we played. The video of which is, I think, still on demand on Twitch, but also saved to the Super Commoner YouTube channel, if that's of interest to you. But let's see here. Now, Blades in the Dark is, this is some concept art. Blades in the Dark is uniquely set up to not need much preparation. The whole idea behind Blades in the Dark is that you won't need to do a whole bunch of preparation either as a GM or as a player. That the players can have a heist without doing a whole lot of planning and having things going awry. Now, my players, if you watch one of the videos that I've saved of a session, they like to plan. They enjoy planning. So there's I think, more planning in Blades in the Dark, our Blades in the Dark game, entitled Rare Imports. than perhaps as the designer envisioned. But it works for us. And I'm always trying to keep things rolling, which is the advice in the rulebook. Keep things rolling, get to the action, and skip any tedious bits and pieces. So, how do I do that? Well, one thing that I can do to make the game run more smoothly when we're actually playing it is prepare lots of options for myself. So I don't, as opposed to a story I might tell in a lot of D&D games, where I might have a town, and my goal in that town is to give it as much detail and richness as possible. That benefits from a lot of very specific planning. Knowing each character that they might encounter, having a bunch of characters just sort of stored in great detail that they might meet in that town. In Blades in the Dark, my goal is more to be ready with whatever the players might do, because the players have a lot of power in Blades in the Dark. They have a lot of power, and they have a lot of choice. And so my goal is to be able to react to those choices. So I'm going to do some prep. And since I know the score that the players will be going on next, that lets me do a little extra preparation than I would normally do. So the players have chosen to follow a rumor that I gave them. That's another thing I'm going to be doing tonight, is crafting a new rumor for my players. Now, the rumor told them of a cache of occult books and papers that had been hidden by, if you're familiar with the setting, Skovlander refugees in a location in Duskfall. And that this cache the rumor was that this cache had been purloined by a cult. The Cult of the Burned King is the one that I created. Denarian, happy Wednesday to you. Thank you so much for joining me. It's great to have the company as I work on this Blades in the Dark campaign. Let me know if you have any questions or any thoughts or suggestions as I dive into this, because I can certainly use them. So, one thing that came up, and this is why Blades in the Dark is great for no preparation, or very little preparation, is that as the players did extraordinarily well with their gathering of information before this, I let them know, I came up with the idea that they would be able to find a secret passage. And one thing I've been trying to do in this campaign is really draw Duskfall and bring it to life. And so, I wanted this secret passage to access a part of the city that the players haven't really been to as of yet. And that is the canals, the underground canals beneath the city. So, the players have already, as of the end of last session, again, saved on YouTube and Twitch, is that they went through the secret passage. They have a boat. They procured a boat, and they went through this secret passage under the city, through the sewers, the canals beneath the city, and are approaching this cult hideout, the Cult of the Burned King. So, it's time to create a little bit more of an introduction to this score, which, if successful, will give them some occult knowledge and artifacts, and will also, I think, connect them to a couple of interesting organizations in Duskfall, including the Skullvander refugees, to whom the players promised a certain amount of the stuff that they find. I highly doubt they'll turn over everything, but it's up to me, I think, to make it possible for them to find some things that they can give over to the refugees, the descendants or friends of those who hid this cache of occult texts, or also some things that they can keep and take back to their lair, and perhaps put on their. I'll just add like a tome, a grimoire to this table of things that I have as their kind of home base representation. So, one thing that I know is that the Cult of the Burned King has a theme. Of course, I was inspired by the name to bring in a reference to a Lovecraftian style story called The Yellow King. And so Lost Carcosa, if you are familiar with that, is a thing. And that's really more for the benefit of those in the know. I don't really expect to continually mimic the Yellow King all throughout. But it is an inspiration for the Cult of the Burned King for me, and I think I'd like to use it. I love the Yellow King. It's truly eerie. A play that if you read through to the end, it drives you mad and does other bad things. So, I found this beautiful piece of art online, and I'm planning to use that. I'm so sorry. I seem to have lost the name of the artist who created it, but bless you. Whomever you may be. There's your signature, at least. I have this. This is art from. Intended to be from the Phantom of the Opera, but to me it looks like less like he is playing an instrument and more like somebody gesticulating in front of a strange throne. And because it has this underground and eerie vibe, I thought that was wild enough. So I'm planning to use that. I think that might be the throne of the Burned King. And as I randomly generated, good evening to you, Grimslag. Max, lycanthropic leader of the cult of the Red Riding Hood. Well, thank you very much for this hood, Grimslag. I greatly appreciate it, and I think it is just the right chapeau for running Blades in the Dark, the creepy ghost punk setting where the sun has been shattered, and all is in darkness, and ghosts roam the streets as everyone that dies becomes a ghost. And it's full of cults and other strange things, and I wanted to have a cult look when I GM this game, so this hood is perfect. Let me see here. So, I have my sewer scene. I know that this throne may be significant. That might be a good way into the cult hideout. And I think it would be more fun to have something big in the cult hideout. It's always more fun to go big. I could have it be a smaller score. And I told them that it was going to be a handful of cultists. That has been established in fiction, so I won't be going back on that. It's not going to be facing any armies of cultists. But I wanted to. I don't think that will be enough. I think that it might be creepier if that throne were in a labyrinth of some sort. I should write that down. So I'm going to pull up my notes. And I'm going to make a note to myself about this score. Really, I may just write this down in order to help me remember it through the act of writing it down. So I've developed this much so far. Song of the Yellow Sign. Skovlander play based on the Yellow King. And I was grabbing bits and pieces from the Yellow King and giving them to the players. And I think that was very effective because I love that piece of fiction. It is, well, love is the wrong word. It unnerves me. It scares me. And I wanted to pass that along. So, we have that. I created the character Pascal Skitchard, a.k.a. Hoarfrost, the old man, who is kind of this mouthpiece of the older Skovlander refugees that I wanted to have in the game. And I also created Touchette Hicks, new man of the ex-wife of Ogre, which is the character played by Corey. Now, I also want to... Alright, so what's the cult goal? Oh, I should write down Cult of the Burned King. Goal. Bring the Burned King into this world and purify it. Now the question is the Burned King associated with fire? Or is the Burned King afraid of fire? I think it might be interesting and a little bit creepy if their dark god, the demonic presence that they worship, were actually afraid of fire. There's something a little weird about that. Not necessarily, cowering afraid. Maybe not afraid, but certainly burned by something, and not burning intentionally. All right. So that's a good thought. All right. So I have this throne. That throne. Maybe that'll be how things start. It might also be fun to throw them into a nice location I grabbed earlier. I want to have that big reveal moment of, oh my goodness. Yeah, something like this. Of, oh my goodness, we had no idea just how crazy this would get. And I like this a lot because it's going to help give the players a sense that there's so much more beneath the city that they never considered. And having that sudden eerie realization, I think, would add a lot to our cult of the Burned King. Maybe they shun fire in the way that the TDD do, says Grimslag. Maybe. You still cook and forge with fire, but you don't use fire magic as a matter of principle rather than fear. That's interesting. I like that. The cult members shun fire and never use it unless forced to. It is an abomination unto their deep sea god. The Burned King. Oh, see you later, Denarian. All right. Now maybe, just maybe, I'll take a little bit of an idea from a wonderful China Miéville book. I'm thinking of Kraken. And maybe this is literally the Burned King. Maybe this is literally their god. Maybe they have their god trapped in a glass tube beneath the city. I like that. I like that. So maybe the Burned King is this crazy crab demon. And it is a Lovecraftian monstrosity. I like that a lot. Alright, so that being the case, going to set up. Now all this stuff I could delete. But I guess there's always a chance that they go back here. So rather than deleting that, I'm going to rename this page as El Ula's Party. That's the score. And I'm going to take this image and I'm going to put it over here. Well, I've already got this set up. And I'm going to stick this in here. Move that image. I'm saving all these for in case the players do something unexpected. Really, really possibility in Blades in the Dark. Grimslag, trapped in a blue magical hellfire which keeps it in a form of stasis alive but always in pain. Hello, Rapscallion 101, and welcome. They require a special ritual including your party in order to placate the fire and release their god. If it was the... Oh, I actually have my credit for this image. Should keep that there. I have not been able to find credits for all of the images that are out there on the internet. Whenever I can find a credit, I add it in. So, blue magical hellfire. Right. Well, then it would be the Burning King, wouldn't it? I think it's a sea monster. Yes, the image credit is very important. And if I could find it for this one, I will add it in. So, the Burned King, the Cult of the Burned King, has this vast underground lair. What are they doing with it, other than worshipping? Well, they are collecting occult texts, including the all-important Song of the Yellow Sign. In order to awaken the Burned King from its strange, eternal slumber. Now, I think maybe this cult is not too... I think that this cult is maybe... That monster is so crazy. I think if they actually brought it into the world, they might not exactly be happy with the result. But they're compelled to do it by virtue of being in the cult. I don't want the players to feel that this is something they can fight. I think that this is a bit of a horror tale, and they cannot take this thing on, although they may be tempted. And if it were to awaken, I think it's a very powerful demon. And if it were to awaken, it would destroy them and all nearby. Sea monster, amphibious, collecting very specific items for rituals. They should prevent/delay the arrival, suggests Rapscallion 101. Thanks, that's a good idea. Prevent or delay the arrival. I think, what they are here for, the whole concept behind Blades in the Dark is that they are criminals. I mean, they are here to get cash. Now, I think some members, particular members of the party, I call it the party, the crew, will be only too eager to release the Burned King. Give them a win without winning. Preventing or delaying the arrival. Yeah. I don't know that everyone would consider that a win, necessarily. Oddly enough. I think I'm going to shrink this down so that, by comparison, this other image seems really big. I mean, what I really need to do is figure out how they are... what are the challenges they're going to face? Because in Blades in the Dark, it's not really all about combat. And the other thing is the challenges and the reward. And the reward, I know, are these occult texts. And I would like to be able to give them some occult texts. Let's see what we have on Roll20. Let's try tome. Tome is a good word. I have that. Not really. Ooh. That's good. Let's check it out in the light. In the light. Oh yeah, that's gonna be good. So I can add that here later. That's good. Magical gnome, that's good. Alright. So I'll put that over here to remind me. Now I've got to leave some space below this image so that I can have clocks. And I kind of want... Alright, so there's a tone. That can be the Song of the Yellow Sign, perhaps. This looks good, too. That looks nice. The Burned King. Have it affect them after its arrival. Loved ones or parts of their network get converted. Huh. What if the Burned King did come out? That's an interesting thought. Not a worse apocalypse than has already happened to this world if the Burned King is resummoned. Here's a question I need to answer. Need to answer. This could be a very secret thing. How did the king get burned? I don't know yet. Prepare for the player's new religion incoming. Yeah. One great thing is to get ideas. It's the Blades in the Dark generators, which I think these are based off the ones in the rulebook. So, for example, Zalvroxos is a monstrous demon of the wind. Zalvroxos has spines, stingers, and desires achievement. What does the Burned King want? We know the Burned King has claws or pincers, tentacles, and lots of nasty teeth. I think this cult is old. And that this chamber where the cult of the Burned King resides, with its Romanesque flavor. Isn't there something about a burned individual in a Minoan cult in the real world? Minoan cult burned. Well, they burned stuff. Probably cows and other things, but not necessarily a burned individual. The king could be one of the titans of old. Maybe. That's one of the things about Blades in the Dark that I am not such a huge fan of, is that having it all tied into this one city of Doskvol, doesn't give me as much freedom as I would like to just create my own world. I always feel slightly limited because of how things hook into each other. And it's a really wonderful thing for getting the players enmeshed in the world and invested and connected to elements of the setting. But it's not very good for the GM to kind of invent freely. So I'm not sure Titan of Old, Rapscallion 101, is the right move, but that's fine. It can just be a demon of the deep that has a Leviathan that has been somehow its nascent form is preserved here beneath the city. Oh, Grimslag came up with something. Let it be known early on, the Burned King has the power of a demigod. His release would be the end of anyone in the area. Perhaps allow the Burned King's psychic projection with a fifth of his powers to have a limited battle interaction at a key story junction, just before his ultimate banishing. The players don't know that it's a projection. Hopefully they'll run. That's a great idea. So, if combat interaction becomes necessary, there you go. That's in my notes now, Grimslag. All right. So, but here's the thing. Karasthina says, there's a Latin cult of Demeter who participated in ritual burning to send food and items to the underworld. Interesting. Interesting. I kind of like the idea that this cult shuns fire. Mostly robe and fire associations are pretty positive. That's true. That's kind of, I think, going to help add to the understated heretical feeling of this cult. But here's the thing. I don't want this to be a fight fest. I have actually had a score that had a lot of the combat that takes place in Blades in the Dark already. And I'm not sure that that's necessarily what I want. Although if the players decide that's what they want to do, particularly Ogre might go for a combat interaction. But I don't want to present it that way unless they decide there's no other option. I think it would be way more interesting if the challenges of this score had more to do with debating them, research, study. Let's see, who is good at that sort of thing? I think Suri is good at 1 point in study. I think Dredge is got 2 points in study. Very good at studying. Blend is 1 point in study. Yeah, they're not a real skirmish focused crew. So I don't really want to go the... I want to have the flavor, the feeling of the world that you might get from Dark Souls or that wonderful game Bloodborne. But instead of whereas in those games everything wants to kill you, I want this to be more give the feeling of dark revelations being the dramatic turning points, not combats. Have a lot of cultists snatch and grab with little impact. Yeah, but see, the thing is, that's not the plan they're going with. They have gone with a stealth plan, but I don't think they are going to be able to pull off too much sneaking around unless that's really what they want to do. Karasthina, what if the Burned King is a victim of an even more ancient cult, and was a victim of a sacrifice to another god, and now he's locked in eternal battle with that god? One of those creepy Mithraic cults that locked children inside of flaming braziers or something. Wow. Wow. Am I distracting you, Karasthina? Is this too interesting? That's a great idea. We are doing that. Secret. This is our big secret. The Burned King is a victim of an even more ancient cult, and was a victim of a sacrifice. So the Burned King is a powerful demon. What cult needed to sacrifice a demon? So now we have... What's great about this is there's an even more ancient cult as well. So now we have... we're touching on this, surprise location. This vast location, and then a location gulf, and now we'll have a time gulf as well. A moment where the players can go, whoa, this is old. This has to do with things that are so old they should not be. I like that a lot. So, that is interesting. So I think the opening of the score is going to be over here, and this will be the entrance. And the players have already rolled their engagement roll, which in Blades in the Dark is gets rid of the whole traveling to a place. You can skip over the kind of nitty-gritty, like, how do you get there? Well, I take a cab, and you take a bike, and you walk, and then we meet up at the place, or whatever. You skip over all of that, and you just skip right to the action. And I think the score is really, really where the heart of Blades in the Dark shines. The downtime rules are great, and they do work. But I think it really comes to life in the score. So, we are going to have them skip to this weird moment where there is a guy in black robes gesticulating in front of this throne. And the challenge here will not be fighting him to gain entrance to the underground lair. They're going to have to talk to this fellow. Well, they don't have to. They can do whatever they want. I suppose if they decide to just knock him out and search his body. They could find some sort of key. But I think it would be interesting to kind of set the tone. If there's someone who is willing to engage. And to that end, I'm going to have him be talking. So I'm going to make a note of that to myself, so that I remember to do this. He needs a name. Strange man, underground, talking to an empty throne. What's his name? What is his name, chat? Well then, let us go. Perhaps Zalvroxos? Perhaps his name is Talabide Colburn. Perfect. Talabide's goal is knowledge and prefers to handle matters with alchemy. So perhaps he is splintered off even from this cult. A decent rug maker? I don't think I'm going to go with that. I doubt it'll come up. Or maybe that's his day job. Wow, that's fantastic. Every cultist needs a day job. So here we go. Talapide's goal is knowledge. So I am going to mention he believes that this stone throne is the true gate by which the burned king may enter this world. Excellent. So now that we know that, should the players decide to interact with this guy, I'm going to change my music up a little bit. Should the players decide to interact with this guy, they're going to... I'm going to have a lot to draw on. I'll know his name. I'll know his day job. I know his goal. And how he's handling with alchemy. Alchemy? Not alchemy. With chants and prayers. He is talking to an empty throne and cajoling entreating the burned king to come forth and purify this world. This will make a nice contrast with the filth of the surroundings. Saying he wants to purify the world when there are blind rats and eerie magics down here in the canals beneath the city. That'll, I think, be more convincing than a preacher in the street. Alright. None suspect the rug maker may return to this world. Indeed. That may return to this world. Entreating the burned king to return from now I need a name for the the realm in which he is trapped. It locked in eternal battle with an even more ancient demon. What was the name of the realm? Let us see. Oh yes, Lost Carcosa, of course. Of course, Carcosa may be the place that they want to go. To return from Lost Carcosa and purify this world and purify the path into that shadowed realm. Excellent. Of course, like all mad cultists, Lost Carcosa is a reference to, more than a reference, it's directly pulled from a wonderful book called The Yellow King. And it is a magnificently creepy work that I find creepy, and I want to pass that sense along to the players. Excuse me, needed a drink there. So, he starts talking. The players will, I'll describe at the beginning of the session, which I'll be streaming on Saturday, that they hear his voice echoing through the canals. Now, I'm going to try an experiment here with my voice mod program. Let's see if this works. Hopefully this doesn't... Ooh. That's how I want him to sound. Please. God. I want to save this voice for something more creepy. Testing. Oh, that's good, but not what I'm looking for. Oof. That pop. That's what I was experimenting with. That nasty pop and crackle. I don't like that. Test. Well, that's a different sound. Alright. Creepy. Alright. Ah! There we go. That's pretty good. So now I need to write some words for this guy to be saying. Ooh, the mic is picking up everything. That's all right. even my computer fan noise. That's a little annoying. Let's try this. Huh. That's pretty good too. I wonder if I'm gonna try, instead of you guys hearing my voice twice, ooh. When one manages to pass through the sticks of the circle, they will come across a dark fortress. Within the sixth circle of hell resides the city of Dis. The residents are made of heretics and pagans who lie in fairy tombs, a place of secrets and the worst violent and treacherous of sinners. Thank you, Kenny94550, and welcome. Test. Can you hear me now? I think the voice mod program took over and grabbed my microphone, and it stopped. OBS stopped being able to use it. I'm not sure where I got cut off there, but Kenny, welcome to the stream. Are you trolling through Twitch, or do you know me from my work at City State Entertainment? Kenny, I'm going to make this text you've given me into the thing that the man is muttering. Yep, just looking through Twitch. Well, then, super welcome. Either way, super welcome. So glad to have you here. That is an awesome addition. Now, I think I'm going to change this from being spot on with Dante's Inferno. I will say, within the inky void. And the reason I'm changing that to there is because I am trying to enmesh this with the world where the city of Duskvol is set. I'm going to do the same thing with Styx, and possibly change these from circles to something else. But first, you guys are going to get a bit of echo here for a minute because I'm going to listen to myself. To something else. But first, you guys are going to get a... All right. It seems like my voice is working. I think my microphone was perhaps at fault earlier. But some previous streams when I was using voice mod, I was getting a lot of pops and crackles on the stream. But I think that my voice sounds okay for right now. So, Kenny, I would change it to, when I heard Burnt King, this is what it most closely reminded me of. Indeed. Well, our Burned King, or Burnt King, Burned King, Burnt King. I think we're going with Burned King for this time around, but I like Burnt King too. The Burned, I guess because one of the cultists who, thinks they're hoity-toity might say the Burned King. When one manages to pass through and into the shadowed realm of Carcosa, they will come to an underwater fortress. Let us play some music. An underwater fortress down in the black places. Within the inky void, the residents are heretics and pagans. Pagans? Heretics and followers of the Emperor who lie in desecrated tombs. A place of deep secrets and lost mysteries. Many of those who have fallen, especially in wrath and heresy, are stuck within their flaming tombs. Some of them are burning eternally with a fire that will not be quenched by the inky sea. I think that's enough. Now this is going to be the babble. I'm going to turn on that voice mod again. And read that out. Read that out to the players as they make their approach. And so they'll be prepared for this guy. Now, their fortune roll was a 5. So, they're starting in a risky position. So he is going to be the risky position. Not desperate. He hasn't seen them yet. Nor has he had the chance to raise the alarm. Knowing my players, they may very likely try to knock him out instead of talking to him. But if they do try to talk to him, I'll be sure to allow them to. Kenny suggests, beneath the mire, below the burning surface, lay the slothful, who by their nature refuse to fight to reach the surface above. Oh, I like that. We'll add that in. The only thing I want to change is the slothful, because this isn't a sin-themed thing. Below the burning surface lie the Watchers. Those who by their nature refuse to fight to reach the surface above. Kenny suggests, if you don't want players to dive deep, they should suffer madness as they hear the cries and murmurings of the damned. So one must either contest in a physical form or a mental spiritual one. That's actually something I was thinking about adding into Blades in the Dark. Especially for this score. I would like to... I think it would be interesting if they could engage on another level beyond the physical. It already exists with the attune skill in Blades in the Dark. But there isn't a really strong method in Blades in the Dark for everyone to participate. I think it would be interesting if they could. But perhaps the chanting of this madman. I'll put that in. Perhaps the chanting of this madman is attracting spirits and ghosts who sense a vibration in the spirit field. Kenny, I really don't know the system well, so I can't really help with the mechanical portions. That's no problem at all. I am saying that your idea is excellent, and was something I was thinking about working in with the mechanics. Chanting this matter is attracting spirits and ghosts who sense a vibration in the spirit field. Attuning to this vibration will allow the players to speak with recent sacrifices of the cult of the Burned King. Excellent. Alright, so once they've passed the entrance, I'm going to suddenly open them up to this underground location. This vast place. Now there's an obvious guard. And I kind of want there to be other guards about as well, but not many. Perhaps only... This isn't a... Despite this snazzy lair, this cult isn't going to be a major player in the city. I don't want the cult of the Burned King to kind of be able to take over the whole game unless the players want that. But I think looking upon the visage of this creature and will be enough to cause them to need to resist going mad. That's a mechanic that's in the game that I think I should be using more. Is I can just have them take stress. So this Lovecraftian monster, this visage of the demon known as the Burned King, which this cult worships, will act like ghosts do in Blades in the Dark. A cult of converted merchants, suggests Rapscallion 101. Well, there could be more merchants. I think that's the interesting thing about this cult. They take their hideout is, as we've established in the game, in the video that you can watch on my Super Commoner YouTube channel, if that interests you, is located below a large ruined mansion. And I don't think I'm going to bother with the mansion over much. I don't think I'm going to put too much interesting stuff there. But it is going to lie below this mansion, and the mansion is within 6 towers in Duskfall, which is the place where a formerly rich district, now worn down and dilapidated. If you don't know that command in Roll20 to make that happen, it's Shift-Z. Alright. We're really making a meal out of this. So there's one guy they can talk to. I think this cult, within the cult hideout, there is always a solitary sentinel. One member of the cult who dresses in their, parenthesis, Romanesque regalia. Who dresses in their Romanesque regalia to... dresses in their Romanesque regalia to guard the sleeping god. And now I need another character, because they may interact with this fellow. They may wish to interrogate him or her to find out where the cache of occult texts lies within the cult hideout. I think they're going to come in over on the left. And I think I'm going to hide the texts somewhere in here. Gorgeous piece of art. I need to find the name of the artist. I thought I had it, but I seem to have lost it. So, Kenny has some more suggestions. Might want to have specific madness conditions. Specific erratic behaviors. These can be used in concert to make rather weak creatures seem very dangerous. The creature above looks like a crab, and so in suffering madness upon the platforms or staring at it, they might feel a deep pressure that suffocates them as if they're underwater. If they fail to save, they start to move slowly as if they're underwater, as if they're walking on the sea floor. Standing at certain spots marked like land or anything similar causes the effects to end. Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I'm going to modify it slightly, but it's a great idea. As one nears the glass case, the glass cage, where it's not really a cage, is it? The great glass dome, where the burned king lies sleeping. One begins to feel as if underwater, moving slowly, breath coming in gasps, humidity rising. This thing brings the suffocating sense of the bottom of the ocean with it. Of course, this is but the material form of the burned king. Its soul has been sent to the nether regions, sent to Lost Carcosa, to do battle with an even more ancient and terrible demon, because it was sacrificed by the previous cult. So there's our solitary sentinel. So we need to give this person, we need to have something ready for that person. Let's see who they are. Mashalt Basaran, aka Chime. Yeah, most interested in architecture. Possess an extensive education in politics. I think this will be a clerk. Let us make a new area for this character. Doesn't wear a waxed coat, because we are putting Mashalt in this Romanesque armor. Not going to be a significant physical danger. Oops. He is a clerk in Whitehall. Kenny, if you want to make it more difficult, anyone standing in an area of water suffering madness cannot use ranged weapons. They don't really use ranged weapons anyway. It might make, if they do engage in combat, I'll probably give them -1 dice. Because, of course, the cultists know how to maneuver in this under these strange effects. So I think they're going to come in here and go through this door. They could go through this door and around this way. Or I could have them come across here from below. But, well, this could go up to the mansion, actually. I like that. That looks like it's heading somewhere a little more civilized. So they're going to keep coming upon cultists from the back. This fellow, Mashod, is going to be facing his god, dutifully watching over them all. And I'll say this is another cultist here. But I'm going to leave that one open. Not going to give them too much background. Going to be able to create them on the spot, depending on what the players do. I think that is that. So, thank you so much for joining me. Oh, wait, Kenny has a great suggestion. I would make him helpful or contact if they answer correctly. Something simple like, who's the one true king? If they say the burnt or burned king, or his actual name, they might not suffer from the madness, as long as they do not become aggressive or act in an antagonistic manner. Yes, I think I will do something like that, but I should make a note that Mashode is on duty as the solitary sentinel. He will ask who is the true? Who is the true king? Yes, who is the true king? That should be, I think, obvious enough. What I like is that it suggests they only need a little bit of information to pass that. Bert and Ernie jokes. Let's see. Final plot twist: Burnt King was actually Bert King, a solemn, spiky-haired, one-eyebrow Muppet. All right. Well, I'm going to be turning off the stream here. I am streaming every night this week. So I'm going to continue doing that. I'll be back on tomorrow night. Possibly playing around with more voice mods. Possibly preparing for another campaign. I didn't create a rumor this evening. Let's see. I'm going to just see if something jumps out at me, actually. Blades in the dark. Rumors. There's a bot. Duskfall News, that's what it is. Now, what I do is I create rumors and I put them in our Discord for the players to... Oh, that's great. Not often the bot generates something great right at the top. Or generated it 2 hours ago. Something lurks beneath the broken mansion. That would be the name of this adventure. I'm going to develop this into another rumor for the players, which is how they've been getting their scores. Is they can often follow up on these rumors, and I'll talk about that tomorrow night, where I go into creating quests. Maybe I'll talk about creating quests both for this Blades in the Dark game and my D&D 5th edition game, the Wildlands campaign. In any case, I am going to be turning off the stream for tonight. Thank you all very, very much for joining me. I had an absolute blast chatting with you all. Thank you so much for coming by, Kenny, Rapscallion, Grimslag, Denarian, Karasthyna, etc. You are beautiful people and wonderful, and you gave me great ideas. I think that this is going to be a very fun score when I stream it on Saturday night. Until then, or until tomorrow night, actually, because I'm streaming every night this week. Until later, good night. Thank you so much.